Why was you naked with another male in presence?
Hey viewers, how are you all doing? And we're in London today, the weather's lovely, so I've selected an indoor explore today. This is British Airways Safety Equipment Procedures Training Centre that closed in about 2016. It was sold in 2021 during the lockdown for development. Security used to be very tight on this. I remember the end of Secret Vault's video where the police turned up just as he was getting away.
They didn't even see us going.
So I'm joined today with Danny. Say hello, Danny.
Hello there.
And Harry, the camera shy photographer.
Hello.
Just want to say shout out to Airbex Amy for the up-to-date intel, so thanks for that. That'll be the way in then, through here. Well, there's a massive hole in the fence. Dingle Dangle was caught in the jingle jangle. I'm just going to go over there and see who the first way in. Literally this way. We're just looking for a way in where we can just literally walk in. Recruitment only. Oh, maybe just walk in here, right? There we go. Wow. And just sort of pull that shut after you, just so no one knows we're in here. So we've got the British Airways executive man, the lady, and the Oriental lady. Almost feels like there's been metal thieves here. So stripped the insulation off an earth cable there. Oh my god, straight away we're into aircraft seats there. All lighting. So this has been a really nice building. It's just been absolutely trashed by idiots. We did have the opportunity to come here a couple of years ago, and then obviously the obvious happened with the lockdowns, so we didn't go out during the lockdown at all. And now this is our first opportunity. So here are a row of triple seats, probably off a Boeing 737 by the look of them. Many rooms with stripped cable, and that is the centre console of a Boeing 737 right there, which is crazy. It's crazy to look at that. So you've got your parking brake there, stab trim. Now, you know the 737 MAX 8s that were crashing. I think an Ethiopian Airways one crashed and a Malaysian Airways crashed. The aircraft crashed because of a system called MCAS. Now, that was due to a faulty angle of attack indicator on the nose of the aircraft that was faulty. So it's putting the aircraft in a pitch nose down position, because the engines on the 737 MAX 8, because the engines are bigger, Boeing mounted them in front of the wing instead of underneath the wing like on the earlier 737s. So to counteract the massive thrust that they would create and it moved the centre of gravity back, they had to trim the nose down all the time. With MCAS did that, but with a faulty angle of attack indicator. It trimmed the nose down and down and down. Now, if the pilots had known to put the stab trim in manual, so you go there and put the stab trim in manual and then manually trim the nose down with a wheel that would be over here, you could trim the nose down and up, and they would have been able to fly the aircraft and it wouldn't have crashed. But they didn't know because they didn't receive any training. And in the initial 737 MAX 8 manuals, pilots' manuals, MCAS wasn't mentioned at all. And that's why it happened. More metal thieves there. Just one last word on Boeing in the 737 MAX 8. The Boeing were fined $2 billion by the FAA, but that was nothing compared to the $18 billion lost in sales and having to store aircraft. They even stopped production of the 737 MAX 8 for over 2 years whilst they were sorting it out. They are back flying now and they are safe. So I'm not saying the 737 MAX 8 isn't safe, because it is now. So don't worry if you booked on one. As it always gets me, we come into buildings like this, guys, and we're always quiet, but the metal thieves haven't been. People smashing armoured glass windows haven't been. Just crazy. What you got? Think before you disclose. If it's confidential, it's ready to dispose.
Aye.
What I call this paperwork on the floor.
Yep.
So this is the Payton People Service Centre of British Airways. But what they forgot to do was pay for the people, so now they don't have any people and you can't go on holiday. But this is what they used to do. Head office apprentices, engineering manager, 3 interviews, 25th. So this is recruitment. These are what they were recruiting before this place shut down. Housekeeping. So these are the vacancies they had. GLA mechanics. They work in UKCRC. So these are the people they were recruiting pre-2016 when this place closed. What we got on this one? 5 successful candidates. Split file and email, SATI. So that's a person who's sent out starting packs out to people to recruit them. British Airways Club Europe, Qantas first. Qantas are an Australian national airline, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, viewers. And please leave a comment if you've got anything to say, reference anything about this place. Have you been here? Have you explored it? Did you used to work here? If you did, please get in touch. Because we find, Danny, you've dropped your blazer, mate. Danny's jacket. Will this go on you? Your face is upside down in that. It like turned your face upside down.
What?
Will that fit you?
I don't think it's a ladies. It's a ladies.
You are a lady, aren't you?
It wouldn't suit the helmet though.
It's not a colour match.
No.
Copy room. It's mad to think that this was a really nice office at one point. And this is what the wife always tells me off for when I go in like Starbucks and stuff. I always look up at the aircon and see if it's been serviced, and that has, so well done to Nolan who've serviced that. Diffusion aircon. So that is what we call a ducted unit. So that will supply chilled air to all the people who live down here. Well, worked down here. It's just a trashed office space. This is idiots coming in, or possibly metal thieves, stealing all the cabling.
We're going to head up towards the flight simulators before we potentially get picked up.
Yeah, let's do it. Right, we're going to look for the flight simulators, as Danny said. We'll see you there. It looks like that one to me. I think it's straight in through there. one Boeing 747 simulator. Right there, simulator that is. That is a Boeing 737. Look at that. And that is a Resuscian. For anybody who doesn't know what a crash test dummy.
Yeah.
Looks like Resuscian to me because it's got the
Oh yeah, probably
Yeah.
is actually, yeah.
This mock-up Boeing 747 was used for cabin crew training. Through practical and classroom-based instruction, the Safety Equipment Procedures Centre equipped many crews with the skills required to deal with a complete range of drills and emergency situations.
Look at that, viewers. .737 now. It's like a cooling fan for the cockpit. Oh we are. So in here, this is a Boeing 737. The in-flight toilet. That's the cabin, but it's had the seats removed for training serials. And here, this is the flight deck. So we've got 3 seats here, so the first officer would sit there, the captain would sit here, and there's just a basic cockpit layout here. So you've got your Mach airspeed warnings there, you've got your oxygen levels there, passenger oxygen and crew oxygen levels. You've got microphone levels here, thrust reversers, stall warning, service interphone, dome light, so that's the lighting on the outside of the aircraft. That is a computer, that is a speaker, or should be a speaker, that is a flap indicator, stall warning. Down here, the spoilers and yaw dampers, they're for slow speed air, slow speed flight, alternative flaps. We've got the DC and the AC generation system here, circuit breakers, we've got standby power. These are power from the engines. That's from the APU, which is the auxiliary power unit. And moving down, we've got the fuel system here. This is all fuel system. We've got electrical system here. Then we've got the oil system below that, oil system. Then on this side, we've got the air temperature in the cabin, window heating and the pitot heats. Pitot tubes, our pitos are what the airspeed comes in on, and air pressure, anti-icing, engine anti-icing, engine hydraulics. Got the isolations for the air system here. That's all air system, compressed air system. I've got these are your standby instruments, and then this is lighting, engine start switches, start valve, APU on and off, landing lights and runway lights. Down here we've got the radios, your stab trim will be there, your trim, these wheels here, throttles, flaps, spoiler, which is your air brake. Then you've got your centre console here, rudder pedals. That's the tiller, that's what steers the aeroplane on the ground. And we've just got the glass cockpit here. Look, this is an older one, that's a GUI compass, altitude, vertical speed, which is the rate of climb up and down, airspeed, and then some standby instruments there. I don't want to go through them all because I know the lads are waiting. And then we've got engines, fuel quantity there, fuel levels. So we'll move on, because I know there won't be in here. And this would have been your fuse box here, all your fuses, circuit breakers. And that is a third seat for a air crew under training. Hope that's all exposed right. Danny's just in the cabin here. These are the emergency exits that you see sometimes between the seats. There. Flight Ops Learning Academy. So this is where they learn all the emergency procedures. That's where they used to drive the simulator from. That's another toilet. Moving back out, that's the intercom, and then the rest of the aircraft would have been continued on that way, but because this is a simulator, don't believe this has ever been an actual flying aircraft. It's always been a simulator mock-up. Just got the life jackets for training, and Danny is on the flight deck.
Hey guys.
Captain Danny.
Just slowly figuring it out. I don't think most of the dials work though. That's
No, it's just a mock-up in it. I think the rail in one of the 737s, it's got an actual rail cockpit in.
If this is the only buttons you really need to use, then what's the point in all the rest? There's literally 4 buttons.
They do many things. This is just for aircrew training. This for the flight cabin crew in the back. That's all this is used for.
I'd put that on if it didn't have poo on it on the nose piece.
Yeah, I won't put that on. That's had many people's nasty breath in it. That looks like that thing off one of the Batman movies. You know, the baddie?
Yeah, that's what I'm in.
Oh, just a couple of things I forgot about. Just there, that's where the landing gear is. And then next to it, when you land and the brakes come on all of a sudden, that's the auto air brakes there. And you can put the stabilisers in it auto by pulling it back a bit and then lifting it up. And that's your spoilers in auto. Did I say stabilisers? And I meant spoiler. It's quite warm in here. It's about, well, it was 30 degrees when we got out the car, and I bet it's warmer in here because we're in a hangar.
Emergency escape row. See this?
I'll just turn round. Emergency escape row. Is that so they can jump out the...
I think that's so they can abseil out of the aeroplane.
Yeah, because usually
when it's falling out.
That window on Boeing's opens, that one, and...
But then how long must the rope be though? If you're 1,000 feet in the air and you're trying to abseil down, it doesn't sound like a great idea.
200 knots.
Yeah,
I think it's for when they're on the ground, Danny.
Nah.
Why
would you need a rope if you're on the ground?
Yeah, the Boeings, the reason they put the engines in front of the wing, because the Boeings sit for various complicated reasons that I don't want to go into. The aircraft sits lower on its landing gear, whereas the competitor Airbus, they've always been taller on their landing gear. Should we check out the 747?
Let's go and have a look.
Which is just there. Lead to McDonald. That down there, viewers, that like cabinet thing there, that is the computer that used to drive the simulator. We paint planes. Okay. So we're on to the 747 now, and immediately it's bigger. Now, my friend Kurt Roberts.
Yeah, sure. Might be a surprise, then we'll go over.
Change of plan. He did a video on an actual 747 that's now grounded, but it's intact. So I'll put a link in the description box to his video, because this area, it still had all the comfort control in it, the TV, there was a big TV on here, and a telephone, all that, because this is the business class area. As Danny's shutting the door. So we'll just go back in the aircraft before we go up to the cockpit. This is the first class area, I believe. I've never been posh enough to go in these areas. I've only ever been in the cheap bit at the back on these seats. I've only ever sat on these. And we'll go up the spiral staircase that is the key feature of the Boeing 747. And we're going to go up into the flight deck. There's our air stewardess for today, it's Harry. And Danny is the captain of the cockpit today.
With the descending device. So in
Descending
the other plane
device.
you have a rope, in this one you have a piece of metal cable. I'm guessing you hold on for your dear life and jump out the side.
I think you do, because these are quite a tall aircraft though.
Yeah.
There's an aircraft final approach lighting system called PAPI, P-A-P-I, and the 747 doesn't like it because the flight deck is another story above where most other aircraft are. The PAPI lights always tell you that you're high, so the 747 pilots always used to have to go in high on PAPI to line up for the centre line and glide slope. So we'll just have a look at the 747 cockpit. This is a later 747 that doesn't have a flight engineer. So flight engineer used to sit here on the earlier 747s, whereas on this one it's got a glass cockpit and no engineer's seat. So I've got the weather radar there, which was an improvement added after several crashes on final approach. One was at Dallas Fort Worth, a DC-10 crashed with all hands lost. So most of the cockpit controls have been removed, but just running you through this is autopilot there. You've got your main 4 engines here. You've got your APU again, so this is the firefighting system. We've got the lighting system here, engine controls, the electricals. So these use the engines on these used to have a main and a backup generator. That's what they are for the electrics. We've got the fuel system here, heating, anti-icing by heating I mean. These are lighting, all that bottom row is lighting. We've got compressed air systems there, and we've got the oxygen system here, yaw damper control, oxygen settings. That's what dropped the masks. When you operate that, it drops the masks in the cabin. Then we've got all this is the electrical panel. On the earlier 747s, the fuel and the air system and all of that was over here where the flight engineer sat, but to reduce cost they moved all the flight engineering to the first officer and captain. That is a 747 simulator or training mock-up flight deck. I don't actually know what's in here, just a little cupboard. And this is the section or floor of a 747 that I don't think I've ever been on, because this is the sort of first class area. And you've got nicer seats, you get your own cookery area. Now the hump, the upper deck on 747s, these were never actually designed for passengers, these were designed for freight. And the upper deck here, with this was all air conditioning equipment. That's what the idea of the raised deck on the 747 was all about in the early days. Later on they obviously used this as the posh bit with the spiral staircase and nicer seats, nicer staff, nicer food, nicer experience. I've got the in-flight toilet there. And then probably go back down the spiral staircase. Look around. So that if you paid all that money for business plus or business class, you don't actually get a view of the front of the aircraft because the flight deck's above. But you do get, I mean, this person here got almost 4 windows to himself, so you'd have, this would be quite good for me, so I could sit there and Thomas could sit there, and then we could just play games all the way to America.
Oh yeah, I've looked at the security desk as well later on.
What, the second hut?
Yeah, we'll go check it out, see if they're working, see
Probably both asleep.
if they're doing the job right.
Apparently it's two fat lazy fucks. Is that what Airbex Amy said?
That was the description, yeah.
This is just computer equipment that used to run the simulator.
It would have been an emergency exit without the trees in the way.
See, those chairs there are like cling filmed up as if they were new. They've just been sat there ever since. Can you imagine having a set of aircraft seats for your sofa, like 3 aircraft seats? That'd be quite good because I think they recline a bit. The spontaneous mind of Danny. I think we've lost Harry again, haven't we?
It's behind you.
He's behind you. Harry. I don't know where we go next. Is it through there? Is it upstairs and that way?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a compound building, isn't it? So.
There's all the offices and stuff that way, I think. All the old computer things. Look at them.
Seen this? That bird, I actually thought it was a fake bird until it just moved.
Yeah, the baby pigeon now. The pigeon.
Please subscribe to the channel, viewers, and I'll see you next week at 4 PM UK time as we continue our explore of this huge safety equipment and procedures training facility here at Heathrow Airport. Bye bye for now.
See an Air 380 over there.